Hearts all around. Grubby and Sheth are here. It is Grubby versus FXO Sheth. 2-0 in the group versus the 0-2 Grubby. But don't let that be the cover of the book, if you will. I think Grubby, coming off his third place finish at the Copenhagen Games in Germany, is looking to impress some people with his ever-improving play.
Turning some heads for sure. The amount of skill he acquires and the execution he's starting to develop in such a short period of time is quite astounding.
Stunning.
And how he's able to scale. Oh, I messed that one up. But how he's able to scale with the entire scene is quite nice. I mean, he's been improving quite a bit. And I think this match, we're going to see it. Don't want to jinx it too much, but I think we're going to see a very, very strong Grubby coming out of this.
I agree.
From his bounce back from the Copenhagen Games.
Yep, and we need it today. The North American Star League needs a hero today.
Yes.
We have
2-0.
Yeah. You know,
this is another 2-0.
The Morrow series was good. Morrow Kyukaku was pretty good.
That's true.
I would have liked to have seen some controversy with it being like a Game 3 or perhaps a little bit closer, but still, I'm okay with that. The other ones, not so much. So Grubby will be going for the 13 gateway at that ramp, chrono boosting out probes. Meanwhile, Sheth opting for the one-base play at the moment. Gas before spawning pool. Pretty standard on a 1v1 map. You don't usually count on getting that 15 or 14 hatch off.
Yeah.
Mostly the probe is sitting its fat butt in the way.
Being pretty troublesome.
It's like that obnoxiously tall guy in the theater that you happen to sit behind, and you're like, no, I can't see the
tall
movie.
To me, that's the problem, man.
Yeah.
I'm a very short Asian boy. Man.
You are a man.
Thank you. I'm 5'7", though. Is that short?
That's how tall Anna is.
Oh, like we're the same height.
Mm-hmm.
But she wears heels sometimes.
She gets heels sometimes. You don't wear heels, right?
I wear, like, flip-flops. I'm super Asian.
Good man.
I'm super Asian. Wait,
Grubby and Sheth having their own conversation.
Me for not wearing heels.
Yeah, that'd be...
Okay, whatever, dude.
I have a bias there as well, I guess you could say.
Stop it.
I prefer a man not in heels.
You stop it. Stop your bias, dude. It's just ruining cast. It's really just so frustrating.
Isn't it weird, though, that if you prefer not to have bias, you're actually biased against bias?
I know. Anyway, probes mining, chrono boost used.
Probe scouting. A little bit of a duel between the drone and the probe.
I'm telling you, shit.
Nobody wins in that fight, though.
Chill's a genius for doing that, by the way.
I know. It's really well played.
So
it's lost on people, though. That's the worst part. They're like, well, that's fine. I'll still criticize later.
He doesn't understand. He's like the anti-troll. You know? That's so brilliant.
Yeah.
That's why. That's why I have so much respect for that guy.
Chill named after Tyler's favorite mood.
Duh.
Tyler's only mood, I suppose I could say.
Yeah.
Again, we see this delayed second and third gateway. This will be a 3-gate expand. No 4-gate tomfoolery here. Although I do want to bring back that game real quick. Actually, the 4-gate worked out really well. If it doesn't get supply blocked, I think, of course, it does better. But in that it did get supply blocked, he just fell back and expanded, and he was okay in economy. Yes, he was behind the drones, but he was ahead in Armony. Army. I said Armony because I'm really confused as to what's going on right here. Does this Zealot die? It does.
Yeah, it does. Kind of interesting.
I don't want that information to get out. Usually when the Zealot blocks the hole like that, Zergs consider him to be some kind of like Colossus, like there's no way to ever overcome that.
Yep.
Look at this probe! Probe did the same
thing.
Get
in here. It might kill the sentry.
There's more Zerglings coming up here.
Kills the sentry. That's a huge
There's a lot of Zerglings coming up here, Grubby. Or Greetort.
And now he's gonna...
Oh, and he blocks the block! Oh, that's so tough. That's game. These Zerglings come up here, and he doesn't know this yet, but there's a huge influx, and he does get the wall off. Warpgate's gonna finish, and Grubby's gotta hold this.
Yeah. But in the back, he's already drone pumping. So there's gonna be a huge, this isn't gonna be a total commitment, but it's already done its damage.
Okay.
And I'm scared for Grubby right now. This isn't looking good as he warps in sentries. Oh no!
Oh, nice.
And one sentry will die!
Yeah.
Oh, that's a huge hit! Now the pylon, he gets supply capped! And these Zerglings are just gonna tear Grubby's face off. Nothing he can do.
You just said face off. Get off the Nicolas Cage binge, okay? This is not good. There's one pylon powering. Well, okay, no, 2 pylons. Maybe just the one. What? Look at this. Look at this. Okay, okay, the other one is being powered.
Chill out, man.
I'm sorry. The potential.
God, it's such fake excitement. See what I did there?
Oh no, you're one of them. And Zerglings making their way to the mineral line. This is how you capitalize on this. They can't do too much more. Okay, a little bit more micro is nice.
Yeah.
Just prolonging the inevitable. Another probe does go down, and a second probe goes down.
Right,
now just the 4 Zerglings. Behind the Sheth is just drone pumping right now, so they're just taking this lead and running with it.
Yeah, Sheth is being so cheeky with this.
It's 19 harvesters to 37.
It'll clear up.
Guess who has the 37?
Nope, it's 42.
Probably not the Protoss player.
Boom. Workers killed. 13 probes died in that engagement.
You know what?
Tab
it's cool. He'll just drop a couple of mules. It should be fine.
Yeah, why you got a banner like that?
It's my bias.
You are so biased. You will never make a good caster because of that.
Sheth taking his 3rd hatchery at the expansion spot. Normally I'd be hypercritical of that and say, you know, he's only on the 1 base. Why would you go take a 3rd and put yourself in danger? But quite frankly,
he can do whatever
there's not really a choice he could make right now where I would have a problem with it.
Yeah,
he could make 13 overlords, and I'd be like, I can understand that. You don't want to make them later. That's fine. Who wants to make overlords? They're such a bother.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, just going ahead and taking up the roaches. The lair will finish here. Grubby trying to do what he can to remain in this game, taking his expansion. Chrono Boost does act as a nice band-aid as long as you focus it on your harvester production. Like,
yeah.
If you can just have 2 or 3 probes queued up at all times and continuously Chrono Boost them, I think you're in okay shape. But he just Chrono Boosted Hallucination. I don't like that choice. I know it's nitpicking. I know it's not that big of a deal. But quite frankly, whenever a Protoss loses harvesters like that, you need every single ounce of Chrono Boost you can possibly get on those probes, in my opinion.
I 100% agree. You're at the point where whatever you're doing as Protoss, it has to be blind. And you have to commit everything to a certain area. You can't say, okay, well, let's play standard after this, because that is not going to work. Just use those Chrono Boosts, get those probes out as fast as possible, get those units out or something. But just making this Phoenix, what does it do? It says, oh, I'm behind.
Yeah.
Okay. Well...
Oh, you're doing that thing that I can't stop you from doing.
Yeah, exactly. Rather, you know, get the Chrono Boost, get the economy up, and say, oh, well, I just looked out and I was doing a build that hard counters you. Thankfully, I can keep up with you in production.
And I want to drive this point home to our Protoss players at home, but really even just RTS players. When something early happens on where you fall way behind, you have to take a risk to get back in that game. You cannot just say, okay, you have more than I do, I'm going to play 100% straight up and just naturally win in the 45-minute game. You can't plan to that. So one of the risks you can take, and I think it's the highest probability of success, is saying, I'm not going to know what he's doing, but I'm going to do everything I can to get my economy back up. So that's the end of that. It is important for people to hear, though. It's good for them to know.
And do you know what's scary?
What?
Sheth has 71 harvesters, and Grubby supplies 55.
There are more drones than there are Protoss units. That's tough.
Yeah, and Grubby now making a Void Ray.
He's taking his 4th base.
And it looks like he wants to go snipe this Overseer. Now, does the Overseer have speed? No, he does not have speed. So it will die.
It's like the most nagging death he's ever had. Leave me alone! And he bursts.
But it does look like, ooh, Burrow and Tunneling Claws is researched. So it can be a little bit of a troublesome bee.
Yeah, no Robo. Robo just now goes down. There is a cannon, so it does give some vision.
Yep.
But as long as Sheth stays outside its vision, this is serious problems for Grubby. Void Ray going to work ever so slowly, though. It's just a 1 Void Ray. And now Sheth's going to make a little bit of a stand. Grubby revealing his units, pushing forward. A lot of force fields do go down, but again, with those Tunneling Claws and the Burrow, it's not good prospects for the Protoss player.
No bueno. And looks like Sheth, I mean, he's just going to continue this annoying stuff until he gets his, normal 102 drones.
He does like to go over 100 on drones.
He
a little bit.
loves to go drones.
Loves them drones.
And basically, he's just doing whatever he wants, man.
Yeah, he was rallying roaches out here, and now they're kind of getting like minorly herded from this from the Void Ray. Void Ray is tickling them with his Care Bear love beam, which turns into a menacing laser, but at the moment it's just a Care Bear love beam. There are a lot of roaches just kind of making their way casually to the top of the map, though, and I love it how like the Void Ray is like silently farming overlords. Like, this is so weird. Okay, there's just roaches burrowed in the ground in front of this natural. Nothing Grubby can do about it just yet. There is an observer at his natural, but he's kind of bracing for the impending impact of this roach wave. Meanwhile, Sheth just kind of optimizing his resources, getting some drones over to that right side base. Now getting Hydras out. Range does finish, as well as Overlord's speed now completing. And this Void Ray's day in the sun has come to an end.
He has 10 kills. It's an instructor, at least.
He's got something to teach the other kids.
Yep.
But I fear that the class might not be in session for too much longer. Void Ray does go down. And now the Protoss base is under siege. Hallucinated Phoenix, or excuse me, Colossus, making its way over here. And these units are buffed. They're at 1 attack as well. That's the other advantage to being way, way ahead, is you can afford things like upgrades. Grubby has nice army control here, but unfortunately, meanwhile, there's a group of roaches just having their way with the natural.
Yeah, I think there's too much. Grubby does look like he will take this out. No, there's a lot of units. Excuse me, I just scrolled up a little bit.
It's like 4 seconds where I was about to agree with you, but then I saw no.
Yeah. And more units just keep streaming in. We can see Overlord just making a creep highway for his units. And all this, the gateway units are getting cleared up pretty soon.
Grubby's a hero, though. Look at him. If I could just hold this attack off, and then it'll be 32 Harvesters to 84.
And GG. Grubby.
Okay, well, game one.
Lose it, yep.
Not quite
lost the...
Come on, Grubby!
Come on, Grubby!
Let me reveal my bias right now. I want a Protoss victory in game number 2 so we can have some controversy. Come on, Grubby. Deliver the goods.
All right. Yeah, there's not much to talk about that. Just Zergling pressure wins the game.
Well, I mean, what was interesting is Grubby did not make a huge mistake. I put that Zealot there. I stick that Zealot there and I go, guys. Like the Zealot turns over his shoulder and he goes, I got this. And we're all like, oh, good, the Zealot's there. And then the Zealot died.
Yeah.
And then Grubby was casting some force fields and he was like, wait a second, there's still more Zerglings coming in. Really nice play by Sheth. And I'm so glad I watched that game because it'll never work against me. I'll be like, oh no, he's attacking the Zealot. I know exactly what this is.
You know what? There was a little bit of a blunder on Grubby's side. I didn't mention it, though. The Zealot was out of place.
Was it? 2
Zerglings get hit instead of 1.
Oh.
That was the problem.
So like a fifth of the hex.
Correct. He wasn't in the right hex. And that's why we a lot of times see sometimes, I mean, not all the times, but we see the Cybernetics core and the gateway, and there's a little space in between there.
Yeah.
To force that one space. But we didn't see it that game. And ultimately, he had a Zealot in the wrong place, unfortunately. And there were 2 Zerglings attacking it. Killed it down. The Sentry couldn't DPS enough damage. Ultimately, he lost the game because of that one Zealot placement.
And nice job by Sheth to recognize what was going on.
Yeah.
Most Zerg players, I will use the word most, and I mean it, literally, would look at that and say, there's no chance for aggression here. Because they think either I have to hardcore macro or I have to be doing a Baneling bust. Like, there's no in-between. Sheth did the in-between. He ended up making something like maybe 10 or 12 Zerglings. It was not a crazy number.
No.
Actually, there's like 6 in that second wave, so I'm going to call it like 16. Still a pretty manageable number. And because he was able to get inside that base and just with a little bit of micro, but getting the right pairings, he was able to kill 3 sentries, a Zealot, multiple probes, and really, that's where the game was won. Anything that happened after that was either going to be a miracle from Grubby or status quo for the Zerg. Like, he was supposed to win from there.
Yeah, it was all formality, but, you know, let's just go ahead and get into game number 2, because I want to see Grubby pull out this win.
He will.
We just both...
I hope so. Ladies and gentlemen, we are underway with the countdown for game number 2 between FXO Sheth leading 1-0 over Grubby. This is division number 1, week number 3, and everyone and their mother hopes that Grubby wins this game. They're favoring for it.
You know, Grubby just told me, don't fall asleep.
Did he actually say that?
Yeah.
He's one of the haters. He's probably like 5 of them. He's got alternate accounts.
He has alternate accounts. He's like, Great Torp looks like he's always sleeping. Now I'm all self-conscious.
Nicest guy in
People
person.
don't realize that I'm Asian, right? So it's very hard for me to keep my eyes open. Very hard for me. Sometimes. I have that... Should I not be saying that?
Is there any way we can edit out his entire role as a text?
What does the "you're out" sign mean?
Dun 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 dun.
Ruh-roh.
Interesting you should say that though, because that puts me in the place where I can either be the amazing like staple of professionalism and just kind of pretend that you're not saying anything and then move on.
Yeah.
Or I can draw more attention to it and throw you completely under the bus. Here's what I'm going to do.
I'm explaining physical features of myself. I'm saying my eye structure disallows me from keeping them open at elongated periods of time. I don't think that is in any way... am I saying a race? No.
You did.
I'm just...
You said Asian.
Crap.
That's okay.
Well,
Nicolas
it's still...
Cage
well, it's true. They have a statistical probability of being very...
good at math.
Good at...
And we do have Grubby as the green Protoss at the 12 o'clock position being scouted by the purple people eaters, FXO Sheth. Now, Grubby, we can talk about the anatomy of certain groups of people in the race after the cast.
Yeah, we're going to have to edit a little bit.
It's the G names. I called you Grubby. You know why I also called you Grubby?
Why?
Because you're amazing at StarCraft.
Oh, that's
and you're going to win this game. As Charlie Sheen would say.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem, buddy.
He's making a U. But no, never mind. He was making a U with his probe. Now, so talk to me a little bit about this. Now, Sheth knows... He will know exactly what Grubby is doing. He's going to see the assimilator timing. That's going to be the most important thing. But what can we particularly expect on these positions? Because I know... I mean, we've gone over it countless times.
Sure.
Stargate play is pretty strong. We saw Kiwikaki do that in his match against Mara. But I don't know. Do you think that Stargate tech was really worth it? Because I thought Mara fended that off pretty well.
It's what it could have potentially done. I think Morrow reacted perfectly, but if you don't see that response from him, it's a completely different game. When 5 Phoenix and a Void Ray show up to your base and you're sitting on 3 Queens at most, you are completely dead. You are completely dead, especially since Kiwikaki worked so hard to convey that read tomorrow. The game before went the single Void Ray, no follow-up, no second Void Ray, no Phoenix, nothing. Just the one Void Ray.
Yeah, that's true.
And game number 2 does exactly the same thing with the one Void Ray just flaunting around the map like, I'm a Void Ray. And lo and behold, back at home, he was warping in the Phoenix to no avail. So it looks like Sheth, if it works once, man. Why not, man? If it ain't broke, as George Bush would say, don't replace it.
Well said. And we do see a little bit of a difference with that Zealot. We can see a pylon right above there saying, hey, only one Zealot. One Zergling at a time, guys. One Zergling at a time. And so a little bit of difference. I like it. I love it.
And it's going to be 3-gate expand. So you were kind of asking me, where, like, how do you follow up? Where do you go from here? What's good in this position? I think Grubby would agree with us that he didn't necessarily get to show what he had planned in that first game.
Yeah.
And that's why we're seeing a very straight-up game number 2. Like, things fell apart. Wheels came off the wagon, so to speak, in that first game. Game number 2, 3-gate expand, totally fine. I anticipate a fast Stargate again. We did see that in game number 1,
really?
And we've been seeing more of that. And I think this close air position really only encourages that play. Again, for the same reason. I think the single Void Ray kills Overlords at worst, and at best, it's followed up by Phoenix, and you can win the game off of it. So, look at this. Sheth.
A lot of Zerglings dying right here.
And look at the sentry doing a little bit of a dance.
Nope. Another wave of units might have wanted to go in. But do keep in mind, there's a lot of sentries into this army.
Yeah.
Very early on, see units have 3 sentries out. So they're chilling, man. They're doing good. Now Nexus pops down. Pop, pop, pop.
More Zerglings from Sheth. They will come over here and find the Nexus. being initiated, but they have to be careful. Losing 6 Zerglings for the cost of essentially 1 force field. Not a good exchange for the Zerg player. Same situation if you whiff on the force field, a lot like that one did, just right there. Not worth it whatsoever. It's good for the Zerg. And Grubby doing his nice... I mean, he's such a nice guy.
He is a nice guy.
In fact, he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Do you know who else? Whoa. Very fast Spore Crawler.
And that's based on the last game. I guarantee it. Oh, actually, that's kind of a weird place for it.
Crawler?
That's like a DT read or something.
Yeah. Not sure why he did that. But yes, Grubby, an exceptionally nice guy.
His lovely wife, Cassandra, very active in esports as well.
And
His like
she's very nice as
personal manager. She does such a fantastic job of making sure that he continues to produce content so people can follow him.
You know, MLG, I actually bonded with both of them. Me and Cassandra, we talked about food. Because I'm Malaysian, she's Singaporean. So we got a chance to just talk about how our food is the best in the world.
Nice.
It was great. It's great.
That's good, man.
I know. That's all I wanted to put.
I actually talked to her as well.
See, now you're a one-upper.
And
You're one of those.
Because I'm
Just
Malaysian as well, we were able to have the same conversation. So.
Pretty clever. I like it.
What would my name be if I was Malaysian?
Jeff?
There's Jeffs in Malaysia? I don't feel like there are.
If you're adopted.
Okay. You're one of those kids you couldn't play Dungeons & Dragons with because you'd literally just say stuff like that after everything people said. There's a dragon! No, there's not. It's a sand monster. Great Orb. I'm the... Anyways. Good creep spread coming out from Sheth. I feel like what he's doing is playing pretty safe. And look at that. There is that Void Ray. Now, this is quite a bit later than I would have liked to have seen. I would have liked to have seen 3 gates expand and then shortly thereafter the Stargate for the Void Ray because that's when it has a window of opportunity to really kind of minimize the larva count from the Zerg. The longer the game goes, the more queens they have naturally. Yeah. The more they're able to transfer over to Hydra, or transition rather. Overlord does go down, never stood a chance. He tried to get away, but unfortunately for him, he was not blessed by Kerrigan with the speed of a Zergling.
No, he's so slow. You are so slow. And additionally, interesting, no Phoenixes coming out.
It's just the one.
Yeah.
But look at the reaction it's getting. A couple of Spore Colonies do go down. I guarantee you a Hydra Den will be the first thing made after this layer finishes. And Hydras are not fantastic against Colossus. In fact, they're quite terrible. And as you can see, the Robo is about to finish for the Protoss players. So Grubby's playing a little bit of a mind game right here, hoping to get a reaction out of
There you go, Hydra Den.
our Sheth. Yep, Hydra Den, predictably going down.
But I don't think that's necessarily bad because getting that Hydra Den, it's the natural inclination of where the game will progress to. So, in terms of, you know, really disrupting anything Sheth is doing, I don't think it's that huge, that big of a detriment. He's
It's
already
just
up
putting
at
it out of order is the
70.
thing.
Oh, okay, I got
You want roaches out right now, so you can like do things like destroy the back disruptor rocks to the 3rd. You can feel staunch in your like ability to both attack and defend against the Protoss. But because you're going Hydras and because they're so reliant on the creep spread, right now Sheth feels that he cannot attack. He's like, I do not have an attacking army right now because he's A, spending money on Hydras, but B, those Hydras can't go off the creep until a certain amount of time passes. So Grubby knows that and is counting on that reaction, and that's why he is taking a faster 3rd before the Colossus. Typically you want to get a Colossus out, then take the 3rd. He's reversing that order very, very smartly, I suppose.
You know, where picked off. He's just checking the army composition. I like that type of play. Just always getting in the face of your opponent, making sure that, hey, you're keeping up. Look at that. Ventral Sax is being upgraded. As long as I can never say this. Nematized carapace.
Yeah, but why is it got to be that hard to say?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
why do they add
you think you're so
in
smart,
there?
Blizzard,
See,
don't you?
No. This is the English language, sir, okay? People always say, Creature, why do you have such bad English? No. Why is the English language so bad? That's what it is. That's what it comes down to. Because what kind of word starts with P and you pronounce it N? N. Or PH is F? What is that? It's garbage. That's what that is. Makes no mathematical sense.
You and Michelle Pfeiffer agree. Now this Zergling at the back Structural Rocks, taking on an Endeavor usually fit for a group of roaches, but the Zergling has been working on its bench press, feels quite confident that it is adequate for that role. Meanwhile, we do have a Void Ray sharking between the airspace, controlling the negative space between the two bases. And now Sheth is going to be active on the map, knowing that he's been duped ever so slightly. You're not making more Void Rays, it's just the one. We'll all be darned. And now what he wants to do is destroy these backstroke rocks, so again, he has the ability to cancel out this third. Unfortunately, for Grubby, he's just got the one cannon to say something otherwise. Now, actually, Sheth might be backing away from that. And you know what?
He's going to drop.
Well, I like his mass expanding too. Yeah, you're right. The drop is good. And that base is actually pretty undefended. It should be highly effective. Especially if this is multi-prong. If he goes main and third, be quite strong here, I think.
Taking the 6 o'clock expansion as well. Now we can see Sheth gearing up to take down these destructible rocks. But Grubby, he's onto something. He knows, oh, okay, an observer.
Oh, yeah, an observer over there.
So he's going to see this. All the units over to the destructible rocks.
I wish he would have warped in sentries, though.
Yeah.
He can't stop him from coming up this ramp. He's got to bring his whole army over here. No multi-prong attack. Unless you count the single Zergling making a mad dash from the main as an attack, which it is not. What I like about this is that Sheth is taking a really bold 4th and 5th base down here. Double expanding effectively. The 5th one is quite a bit later than the 4th, but still, this is a heavy aggression with the economy. Meanwhile, an altercation going in the map. Actually, it's just the Protoss essentially running the Zerg back home. And that's that off-the-creep danger.
Hold on. Dropping the main of Grubby, and Grubby is supply capped currently. He's moving back as he's only at 158 supply. And it looks like this Nexus will be targeted down and destroyed by the time... Oh, actually, Blink and Colossus are in here. I didn't know that Blink was upgraded, but the Nexus is still going to die.
You should be able to blink under those Overlords. There should be no escape.
They don't have an escape.
Sheth's going to try. No, they're all getting picked off. So a costly drop, but it did get the Nexus.
Yeah. And that's important. I mean, a lot of people don't realize there wasn't a lot of minerals left in there. No, it's the gas. The gas, you need that production.
Yeah.
And now Sheth is sharking around to the left-hand side. Yeah. Look at that space that it created. He's saying, okay, all the units are forced over to that right-hand side. Let me attack the left-hand side. Using that mobility, he's getting Zergling Roach in here. And he might just snipe the Nexus yet again. He'll be able to kill it momentarily.
Oh, he even pooped on it.
He pooped on it.
A little bit of a poop there. Kind of a wild attack from Sheth. I'm not seeing a whole lot of diversity in what he's actually targeting. In fact, everything's shooting everything. And look at this. Again, it's the cubicles of death. Protoss player just segmenting that Zerg army, and it is getting diced up. Sheth losing that whole army for nothing, essentially.
Yeah.
They killed some probes, and they did some paint damage on the Nexus and the Geyser, but really, this might open up a timing for Grubby.
Yeah.
I think he's got to go now.
I think that would be the perfect time. I mean, he has no choice. He already lost his main Nexus. He needs to do something about it all. And Sheth, he does have Infestors, and that's what I love to see.
He's actually all over the place.
He's looking so good, man. So good. As Ventral Stacks has already been upgraded. So really, Grubby can't push out.
He can't, no. And there's Banelings coming out now with speed, being loaded up into Overlords. Another little mini drop. He does have Infestors out. Sheth looks...
Oh my gosh.
This is why he says this is his best matchup. This is unfathomably good.
Yeah.
You know, as I was saying, Grubby has to move out now. I feel like that was the wrong call. Like, I was looking, I was like, no, I think Sheth has too much.
Sheth is just so on game, man. He's on point. And now that he doesn't have a ton of Overlords, and I would like him to actually kind of mix in blank Overlords with his real Overlords. So when I say real, I mean the ones that are filled with Banelings. Right. Just so that they don't say, oh, okay, I'm just going to target down the only ones that are there. There are only 4 Overlords. Like, okay, you have stuff in them. So I'm a little bit scared, but High Templars are in the mix. High Templar Storm is not up yet, just about 50% complete.
He won't have it for this attack.
No, he won't. This attack is coming up, and now Fungal Growth.
Nice, they get broadsided and an army. Oh, no! Excellent force fields from Grubby.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh!
And here come the Banelings!
Oh!
And there are units covered in green. It's reminiscent of a 3rd grade birthday party during flu season. This is not looking good. A lot of the sentries are paved or cleaved out, if you will, from the Protoss base, but he's surging forward, and he now has Psionic Storm with energy.
Yeah,
he's got storms.
Only timing that he has right now. Now he needs to use Infestors to immobilize these units. He can't let them just freely attack. Now a little bit of engagement. Does look he's just going to back up.
Oh, the Templar, careful! Does get a storm off. And the other one gets picked off.
Yeah,
Excellent micro by Sheth, and I feel like
nice
he's just getting outproduced now.
Nice blink from micro, but he needs to back up. He cannot take this. As I love this,
my friend. Yeah, look at that.
And you know what? One of the best things about Sheth I like is how he's not overdoing it with corruptors. He's just getting enough corruptors to scale with his opponent.
Scale.
I was gonna
Excellent play.
My voice is gonna die if I keep that up. By the way,
Sheth looks like a solid rock. Like, I keep seeing Grubby making really strong, good choices. But that push was not it. I mean, in any other game, I feel like that push crumbles a lot of really good Zergs. But Sheth with the double macro hatches, just constantly injecting, doing such a fantastic job managing his economy, sitting on these 5 bases. In fact, he needs to start thinking about expanding again just because he took all these bases so fast. Grubby's got to defend. He has to defend to win this game.
And do you know what I love about Sheth? His activity. I mean, he's saying to himself, I hit 200, I attack. A lot of these players, a lot of Zerg players would just sit back and relax. Sheth won't have any of that. Now we can see a little bit of an altercation in the middle. Immortals, ooh, nice High Templar storms go off. But the Immortals are the ones that are really making a statement saying, LOL roaches, I'm going to kill you so fast. Now more units warping in. The Hydras are left barren.
Nice pullback. Grubby gets those Immortals out of the way so their shields can regenerate. Meanwhile, a drop in the main as well as a couple of roaches being a nuisance at that third, if you will. Grubby was never truly mining from the main. Actually only had like 4 probes on it, so it's not the biggest of losses. And Grubby really handled that fight at the high yield extremely well. Here's the thing. Can't attack again. Does not attack. What he has to do is take the left side. And this has to be the longest, most boring game. Well, okay, not boring because he's doing an awesome job with these amazing defenses, but he needs to try to make it a boring game. He wants to sit on those bases and just split the map with the Protoss. That's totally fine.
Precisely. Now we do see a large amount of Zerglings coming in, and Hydras, actually. He will be teching to, I do believe, Broodlords, and yes, Broodlords are on the way. 6 Broodlords are on the way. This is going to be a really nice transition. I mean, Broodlords are one of the key units that you want to get. However, I would love to see some Ultralisk tech in this, as they say LOL to force fields.
Yeah, just a couple of them, I think, specifically for that purpose.
No force fields. Never mind, forget it. Immortals,
but you're absolutely right, though. I like that. I mean, he doesn't know that there's no sentries necessarily. I mean, he didn't see any in the last fight.
Just to garnish, though, you know?
To garnish?
Garnish, yeah.
Infestor's now coming out. A lot of Broodlords. We're sitting at 7 with a max Zerg below it. Just a couple Infestors. And this is something I've been saying for a while. You don't want the 25 Infestors that some people go. Just the 4 or 5, you know, 2.
Exactly.
And I'm trying to look for what Grubby's response is. He does have 4 Templar, 5 actually, as well as the Void Raid now joining his army, but no Colossus to kind of shell out the army below. His Observer getting great information here. And this is it. This is our date with Destiny. Grubby might actually broadside these Broodlords, and the Broodlords are getting picked off.
No.
Bit of a miscue, and look at these storms. They're getting both the Broodlords and their protectors below. Nice focus down from Grubby, and that's a huge mistake from Sheth.
Yeah, Sheth will lose all of his army. That's a huge pick, but at the 12 o'clock, the main Zerglings are running amok here. They are not killing any of these units just yet. They are not StarCraft 1 cracklings. It takes a little bit of time, but the Nexus will go down some of the infrastructure, and it still looks like Grubby, I mean, although he won that fight, he doesn't have enough to muscle up and do a counterattack, and we do see Infestors
are he can't
out.
do this.
Right,
yeah, he might be pushing here, and that's the worst choice he could possibly make. Okay, good.
Infestors,
facing back.
Infestors do a little bit
biased.
but now these Zerglings, yeah, you are biased.
I want Grubby to win so bad.
Oh, man.
Hate Sheth.
Whoa.
I don't. Not at all.
A bit harsh.
Dark Shrine even getting sniped here, and that's actually a costly loss. Nexus goes down, so as you've been saying, it's the gas that really hurts there. If you click on those guys, actually they're kind of... Actually, they're pretty low. That's amazing. You mined them fairly well. But Zerglings doing a lot of damage, and it's just a question of, I think Sheth can outlast. Ooh, what do we have here? What's that harass at the 6 o'clock base?
Yep. Hello, Dark Templar.
7 kills. Standard.
Standard.
Drone's not mining at the other base. Actually, Sheth's starting to kind of dry up. High yield gone, natural gone, main gone. And those other 2 bases, I mean, the 4th base, the natural at the 6 o'clock main, is almost mined out. The main is very healthy. That'll go forever. And the bottom right is just now starting to be mined. So it's not like Sheth has to worry just yet. But we are approaching the 30-minute mark.
Yeah.
And Grubby's still here, ladies and gentlemen.
Sheth loves long games, man.
Yeah, I know.
It's like every single game.
Game number 3 will not disappoint either.
Let's start attacking when we have Hive Tech, alright? Yeah, sure. Alright, sounds good, man. But I would love him to start just focusing on this left-hand side. There's no real reason to have so many engagements on the 12 o'clock. I mean, yes, there's a lot of infrastructure there, but make sure Grubby doesn't have this, 9 o'clock main, the 9 o'clock natural. That's really unnecessary, because if you split the map, we can see the units lost tab. There's a 6,000 difference, or just about 5,500 difference in the amount of units lost. Grubby actually taking the better end of that stick. So
I think that's pretty standard. Protoss typically has the more cost-effective unit composition, or just raw unit in general. Now, he's got to be careful. This left side base has no cannons. I'm not a fan of that. He's been getting countered and kind of multi-pronged attacked all game long. You got to figure that Sheth is capable of doing that. So put a couple cannons over there, Grubby.
Yep. And now we can see, oof, this is a lot of Broodlords. Let's go ahead and check on the units tab. We have 13 Broodlords out right now.
But double Void Rays coming out now off the Stargates.
Whoa.
Good response.
Where are you? Where are you, Stargates?
There's one at the National, one in the main. And if you look, well, at least for this moment, Sheth is kind of shying away from the anti-air. He is maxed, and he has the 6 Infestors, as well as some Hydras and like a couple Corruptors. But against 2 Stargate Void Ray, that could be a big pitfall for him.
Yeah. Could be in a little bit of trouble, as he doesn't have a reliable anti-air, a consistent anti-air. And now we can see Sheth. Looks like he's gearing up. That is a large blob of purple in the middle of the map, sir.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely is. But you know what? If Grubby holds this, and he's got such fantastic information, just constantly kind of staying aware of what's going on out there. Broodlord's stomping forward, and every time they fire a volley, it's like just a new army is seen.
Funkles, he needs to get Funkles. Storms go off.
Big storms.
And there the Funkles go, immobilizing most of this army. And it does look like the Void Rays will be targeted down. I think, man, Grubby does not have enough. Yes, the Infestors just cleared everything up.
Wow.
And now finally a couple Infested Terrans, but still losing your entire army. Grubby is in a really bad position.
Such good army control from Sheth.
Yes, Sheth. He just insta-remaxed, sir. He just insta-remaxed. And now, I love this. Instead of denying the gold, he's denying the more important base.
The newer base.
The newer base, exactly. He will take this down with ease. Doesn't look like Grubby has much to his name. Just 5 Stalkers getting over here.
Fantastic army control from Sheth. And Grubby is doing everything he can. He still does have these Void Rays coming out. But with this base falling to the Zerg pressure and his top being mined out, it looks like Grubby's days are starting to get numbered. But he will fight this out. And we have just a surge of purple kind of still meeting in the middle of the map. I'd love to see that rallied over here. But Sheth just shoving forward. And I don't know, Grubby can Grubby stop this? Is it?
I don't think so. His gold is now being denied. It's not looking good for Grubby. He's at 76, 72 supply now and just slowly climbs down. Yeah. Whereas Sheth is perma 200. And he's also banking 2k minerals.
Yeah, he won't stop.
So he will not stop, but trust me, Grubby won't stop believing. He will hold on to that feeling.
Well played, sir.
Thanks.
Grubby, again, still, even so, he's falling down, and if you look at his income, it's actually now non-existent. He is literally not mining from anything. Every unit you see here is what Grubby has to win the game with. There's the GGWP, and Sheth taking it 2-0.
2-0.
In an interesting game. Grubby did a good job. Did a good job making it interesting. We're actually going to cut to an interview with Sheth, so I'll leave most of the discussion for that. Sure. Stay tuned. All right, so we do have FXO Sheth on the line. Sheth just recently 2-0'd the Grubby man, who falls 0-3. Sheth, you are 3-0 in your group, and I believe, well, actually you're tied with Moon and a couple others perhaps, but you couldn't be any happier, I'd imagine. How do you feel the games went?
Oh, really, really happy. The first game, I'd actually watched his style. I'd watched him play in Copenhagen versus Maro a couple of games, and I noticed he likes to expand with a Zealot, a Sentry, and a Stalker. And so I kind of thought I would exploit that, but in the first game, he actually wasn't making a Sentry or a Stalker or any unit out of his gateway for a bit, and I saw it, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do what I always do, just make a bunch of lings and see what I can do early game.
It worked out really well. Can't argue with the results there. You couldn't have lost that game if you tried after getting into his base and massacring everything. Now, who do you have next week? I mean, not to rush away from the Grubby games, to be quite frank, I mean, you played brilliantly, like you just said, that you were very happy with them. You're at 3-0. Who do you have coming up that you're kind of worried about and you think you need to give a little bit extra attention?
Let me think. I'm actually not completely sure. Actually, I think it's no, it's not Rainbow. I already played Rainbow. I'm reading the schedule, actually. I was just bluffing.
No problem. Just trying to buy that time.
I think it's TLO.
TLO. Now, in his only TVZ, he won in commanding fashion against Vibe. If he makes 6 barracks, do you have a response to that?
Well, I'm just going... I don't know. Yeah, I have the idea of what to do against it. Idra could have beaten it whenever you played him in...
Yeah.
Forget where it was, but he stopped making lings, stopped microing the banelings on creep properly. And the same thing with whenever he did it to Vibe. Just don't stop making speed zerglings and just push him back. It's not very cost efficient.
You know what I also realized? Crossfire is a 1v1 map, Greetorp. Earlier we said that Zelnaga Caverns was the first one. We're gonna get a lot of flack for that. That's okay. Sheth will defend us with his amazing Zerg play. Now, Sheth, sitting at 3-0, the top 2 advance to the top 16. What are your goals as a player in the North American Star League? I mean, I know the easy answer is everyone wants to win it, but what are you looking to do? What would you consider success, and what are your expectations moving forward?
Well, in this league, I would be very happy just to be top 4 in my group. And I would really, really, really want to fight to get to just go to California, to be there, to be a player of the top 16. If I get to do that, it's really just a success in my book because I made it. It's a huge thing to be one of the top 16 in the first ever NASL. It's really, like I've said before, this league is like my dream. From Brood War for 11 years. It took a really long time coming. I'm kind of blame you guys for that. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
But whenever, now it's here, I really want to be a part of the dream.
Well, you're doing it, buddy. You're at 3-0, and you're just... I mean, you've actually been improving each week, if I might say so myself, especially with these last 2 games. There was that moment when Grubby kind of held back and had the 2 Colossus. We're like, Grubby's got to push now, and I think he could win. And then we looked at what you're producing. We're like, like both our voices kind of trailed off. We're like, no, I think if he attacks now, he dies and loses. So, fortunately for Grubby, he actually pulled back and prolonged the game just a little bit more. But you're looking quite solid, sir. You're doing very well. I know that FXO is really excited to have you. Any kind of future plans with FXO? Do they have any big clan wars to look forward to? Any new leagues? I know they're doing big things in Malaysia. Tell us a little bit about FXO real quick.
Okay. FXO, to give some background, it's a really big company. It's the 3rd largest online brokerage. I just keep repeating that because that's what I've been told. And the boss man, his name is Boss on StarCraft 2, which is ironic. But either way, has so many big plans. Like you said with Malaysia, he wants to run huge tournaments. He wants to make Malaysia kind of the near Korea spot to be. And he wants FXO to be a big part of that. He wants the same sort of players from all over the world that Korea has. And FXO's ultimate goal is just to make it so esports is a viable job to have. Like, he's talking about salaries for players, lots of things that with the NASL, it's definitely promoting that. With these other leagues, like Taiwan, it is Taiwanese league. TESL, it's the best I can say.
Yeah.
He wants that to be basically all over so that the players, at least for FXO, and hopefully for everyone who's a top-tier player, can make this into a living and not just like a roommate, a 3rd roommate, a 4th roommate. You're literally living off of scraps. Like a comfortable, okay, I can make by with this living.
Very nice.
That's our long-term goal.
Well, Sheth, it's always a pleasure to have you on. You've done such a great job. You are one of the favorites of the community. No one has any problems with you. I know that you recently launched a show with your stream. And on that note, do you have any shout-outs / anything to say to wrap this up?
My mods have been great. Everyone who watches my show, thank you very, very much. Please keep watching. And 6Jax Terran, you're a bad player.
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh! Okay. All right. Take with that what you will. Look for FXO Sheth versus Six Jacks Princess Aaron in future matchups coming to your television screen or your computer screen. Sheth, thanks for being there, and you know what? Keep on trucking.
Thank you.